Craig's like, I already waved once.
Jess, I clicked on you as the host instead of Kelly. I think you can probably make Kelly the host. My apologies.
How do I do that?
Click participants down at the bottom. See that?
Yep.
Okay. Then next to Kelly's name, click more and then click make note. Is that an option?
Gotcha.
Oh, I'm the host now.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
Nope. Sorry, Tim. Didn't mean to bother you.
No, not at all. My apologies. I missed that one. I'll drop off now.
See you later.
Okay.
Thanks, Tim. Still waiting for Kevin.
Yeah, he's joining. He just was in the waiting room, so I just let him in.
Oh, okay.
Here he is.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Kevin.
I didn't know if I was gonna make it on here with the way this was acting up tonight.
We don't see your face, Kevin.
No?
No, go to the three dots at the top right and say start video.
Oh, wait a minute. Start video.
Yeah. There you are.
Here he is.
All right, so I guess we can begin. This is our board this evening. So anybody who's watching, I'd like to welcome you to the Woodbury Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. Please rise for a pledge to the flag. Even though we don't have a flag, we can still say the pledge. I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States
States
of
of
America
America,
and to the
and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God, indivisible,
with
with liberty and justice for
for
all.
all. Thank you.
It's just the three of us tonight?
Yes, we do not have a full board this evening. We have one member who cannot attend, and we are one member short because the village has not yet appointed that vacancy. I believe they might be doing that tomorrow evening at their village meeting. So welcome to the Woodbury Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. We meet the second Wednesday of every month. Our next meeting will be in January of 2022, January 12th. I'd like to introduce the board members who are here this evening. We have Mr. Craig Brady. We have Mr. Kevin Abrams. I'm Karen Ungerer. We have our counsel, Kelly Naughton, and we have our recording secretary, Jessica McClellan. Welcome, everyone. All right. I'm going to go to the agenda now. We have no executive session. Has everyone read the minutes from November 10th?
Yes.
Motion to approve the minutes is accepted.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so minutes are approved. We have no new business, no action on decisions, and we're now up to the public hearings. First public hearing is Valdez. This is a continuation of a public hearing to be moved to February due to a moratorium for a special permit to permit a second dwelling unit for a family member, Priscilla Arias, pursuant to section 310-35 of the Village Code. Said property is located in the R1A zoning district at 20 Abrams Road in Central Valley and is known on the tax maps as section 226, block 1, lot 37.221. So that meeting is moved to February. Second public hearing is Ross, continuation of public
Do we
hearing.
need
Could we get a
to?
motion to extend that to February 9th?
I'll make a motion.
I'll
I'll
second
second
it.
that.
Okay, I'm going Kevin, seconded by Craig.
Okay, all in
All right.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, I didn't realize we needed a motion, Kelly. Up to Ross. Continuation of public hearing to be moved to February due to moratorium for a special permit to permit a second dwelling unit for a family member, Martina Espana, pursuant to section 310-35 of the Village Code. Said property is located in the R1A zoning district at 6 Carroll Drive in Highland Mills and is known on the tax maps as section 202, block 1, lot 46. Do I have a motion to move this public hearing to February?
Motion.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Third one is Beer World, continuation of public hearing to be moved to January at the applicant's request. The original application had 3 requests with regard to section 310-32B to exceed the square footage for a retail establishment. Number 2 was to section 310-30D, number 2, letter D, to allow an additional wall sign in excess of what is permitted. And number 3, attachment 11 of chapter 310 to allow additional wall sign area in excess of what is permitted. Said property is located in the LC zoning district at 159 State Route 32 in Central Valley and is known on the Village of Woodbury tax maps as section 226, block 1, lot 9.2. Do I have a motion to move this public hearing to January?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Got that, Jess? Okay. Next public hearing is Levy, continuation of public hearing requesting variances for the reconstruction of a single-family dwelling that was destroyed by fire from Village Code sections 310-7, 310-43, and 310-43.1. Said property is located in the R3A zoning district at 999 Route 32 in Highland Mills and is known on the Village of Woodbury tax maps as section 201, block 1, lot 20. Is Mr. Levy here? Yes,
He is.
Yes.
I see you.
Yes, hi.
That's good. All right. So this is the house that was destroyed by fire, and you wish to reconstruct it, correct?
Yes, madam.
Okay. So based on our village code, the property itself, not the home, but the property is a non-conforming lot because it's in the R3A zoning district and it's less than 3 acres. However, based on the code, you're allowed to have a home there, a single family home. You exceed the lot requirement, which is 15,000 square feet. You have over 53,000 square feet. You have to have a minimum lot width of 100. You have lot width of 330, so you exceed that. Let's see, do you have, does that property have municipal water and sewer, or is that septic and well?
It's on septic and well.
Septic and well, okay, as long as it meets New York State and Orange County Department of Health standards, but that would be up to the planning board, correct? No?
I would put
Inspector.
that as a condition. It would be up to the building department to confirm.
Right, okay. And you must meet the setbacks for the R3A zoning district. So just from that, it looks like you need setback variances because you meet all the others. Is that correct, Kelly? Okay. So the building inspector has also determined that the building was destroyed more than 50% of the fair market value. And our code says that you cannot rebuild unless it conforms to the setbacks and the height. Well, the height is no problem, but the setbacks is a problem. However, the building is got masonry walls and stone outside. It's going to be very difficult to relocate that house to give it the proper setbacks. So we will discuss that when we do that. I'd like to enter into the record a letter from the engineer of Talcott Engineering Design, PLLC. It was Charles T. Brown, professional engineer. He said he inspected the house, the property, and actually the structure on August 5th of this year. And he's got three recommendations. The first one is that because fire damaged the roof and the second floor ceiling, I'm sorry, they could be replaced, removed and replaced, but you need to, whoever does the reconstruction needs to brace the ceiling, the walls, I'm sorry, prior to removing the ceiling. The first and second floor walls and the floor's framing are structurally sound and they can remain. So that's not a problem. And the engineer also recommended you have a mold mitigation specialist treat the floors. And that's probably because of the water damage from whatever and just exposure to what's ever out there. So that is dated August 11th, 2021. So what we have to do, I guess, is discuss the setbacks. So,
So I included the minimum lot area as well, just to fully bring it into compliance with the R3A district, if you'd like to consider that as well.
I thought that, say that again?
So the portion that says it needed to be a minimum of 15,000 square feet, that
Right.
was for the non-conforming lots of record, but then it does say it needs to comply with the setback requirements of the R3A district. So what I provided to the board was information on each one of those setbacks, but I thought for ease of review by future boards or future, enforcement officials or something like that, it might be easier to bring the whole lot into compliance with the R3A district, which is, it would be narrowly tailored to single family house, et cetera, but to allow this minimum lot area as it was existing since the 1800s. But it's up to the board if you want to consider that. I just, knowing I've gone through really old records before, and sometimes it's nice if it's written clearly. You don't have to search for things, but I
So
wanted to give the board that option.
the lot size can't change, so how would we? You're saying just address the 15,000 square feet as a variance?
Just to address so the applicant in the R3A district is required to have 3 acres. Right now, they have the 1.227. So it would be any decision that this board grants will address the 15,000 square feet, but would also address the R3A requirement of the 3 acres, so that it shows that you looked at it from both views and you kind of hit it with a 2-pronged attack.
Okay. Okay.
So do we have questions for the applicant?
I don't have, the only question I have right now is the concrete porch that's wrapped around the front and on the southern portion of the house. You're going to keep that, correct?
It's, it's there. If you tell me I have to remove it but I can still keep the house, then I will do that. I mean, it's really up to you if I'm allowed to do that or.
Well,
I think it's a question, right? Karen, you're asking if it's going to be removed or not.
right. I was asking you, do you plan, would you, in your mind, were you planning to keep that porch?
I was hoping, because the porch is also, the house is a bit higher than the ground, so the porch also is part of how you enter the house, at least part of it. There is a part which
Right.
is not.
Right, it wraps around, the stairs go across the porch area.
But obviously, if I would lose the house with the porch, or if I just let the porch go and still keep the house, obviously I would go for keep the house and get rid of the porch, if
Okay.
that's the choice.
Okay, no, I'm not giving you, I wasn't, saying it has to be one or the other. I was just asking what you would like to do.
I understand.
I think I think you would like to keep the porch, but you're saying that if necessary, in order to keep the house, if you had to get rid of the porch to keep the house, that's what you would do.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, madam.
Well, I think the porch, Karen, adds a lot of charm to.
Oh,
it.
absolutely. No, I'm not in favor of taking the porch away. I was
And-
just, wanting to know. The reason go ahead.
But this is another one of those unfortunate when the throughway comes in and chops up everybody's property,
Yeah,
as they did in the 50s. Or else this probably wouldn't have been an issue.
Yeah.
as far as variance. is
Yeah.
concerned.
Um,
So they didn't leave him much room.
No, if you look at where the porch, the
No
reason
room.
I asked that question was the porch is, a little bit more than a foot away from the property line on that
But-
southern part, and the house is only 7 feet, from the property line.
Right,
I mean, it's near impossible to move the house over. I mean,
it is.
that's not
And,
feasible.
and the
Yeah.
house really does have a lot of charm.
Oh, it does, definitely.
So I just don't see. I just don't, I don't see any way of really fixing the problems. The only problem is I think we're just gonna have to make it so that he can get the house fixed up.
Kelly, I had a question. You stated that the side yard setbacks, usually is 30-30, but has to equal 60 feet. And you said he had less than 25, but I'm looking at the diagram that he provided, and the northern side yard is 35.9 for about 36 feet from the house. Now, there is a porch there, an enclosed porch, but it doesn't give the measurement. And this is probably moot, because if you look at the other side, it's very small, so it doesn't equal, the 60, but I was just wondering where you got the 25. Is the porch
So-
10 feet?
I actually, and this is a credit to Mr. Levy, I had several conversations with your surveyor to get the information for this board, as we had discussed at the last meeting. He was extremely responsive, which was great.
you.
And even invited, additional questions and follow-up questions. So I had asked him, as far as the distance from the side lot line, if you're looking at the house from Route 32, the concrete steps on the right of the house. If you were looking at those, what the distance between the concrete steps to the side lot line was, and that was 24 feet.
Oh,
And then I
okay.
looked at that concrete porch when you're looking at it to the left side. And so there's the porch, and then there's like a balustrade around it.
right.
And so I asked him the distance between that directly out, and that was 1.2 feet. So that's why that section is a bit of a range, because it goes further away, but I wanted you to have the closest one so that it appeared that it's really like part of the structure. So I wanted to make sure that you had that area.
Okay.
And then one of the other items I asked the surveyor for, so it is an odd shaped lot, it's a triangle. So finding front yards, side yards, everything like that, the way it's defined in your code. I had papers going all over to figure it out. But if you look at the house from Route 32, it's pretty parallel to that road. So go, the easiest way to do it would be to put a piece of paper on and go perpendicular, and what is the rear yard. So in the back of the house, where they have on the left side, the corner that was 11 feet, instead of going out to the side, I asked him for what it was straight back, so that plane going backwards would serve as the rear yard. And that's where I got
Is that
the 14.3 feet. So he really worked with me on some of the questions I had for this odd lot. So again, I thank you for having such a good
Thank you.
consultant that was willing to do that.
Yeah, that's unusual. Usually you
Yeah.
have to wait.
He was the only one that could, I was looking for so many people, but they were all very busy. And
Mhm.
he was the only one that was ready to work with me and do it fairly quickly. And I was grateful for that. And also for the fact that he was able to speak with you. And-
Yes, thank you.
Refer him to all your friends.
Yes.
Oh yes, he's a great guy. He's an
I-
amazing guy, actually.
So-
He was reaching out to me to get back to me. So it was like, this is
Wow.
amazing.
Kelly, I have a question for you in your historical records research that you did here. Did you come across anything related to what this parcel might have looked like before the throughway eminent domain seizure?
No,
I didn't
I
think
would have
there
had
would
to
be.
do more of a title search
Right.
to go backwards through the old subdivision maps of the town, and I didn't do that.
Well, and it was probably, if it was even there, right? I mean, it could have been,
Yeah,
It's
and if
so
it was
old.
the thruway or the state, they don't usually file the map. Instead, they file an easement, and then you just, you figure it out by basically missing documents if you're not, you don't write the title reports.
so, I mean, I would suspect that this was the non-conforming lot scenario and all the setbacks, as Kevin indicated, was created by the eminent domain seizure by the thruway or the state, either one. You can't move this house.
No.
So,
Can't
You
move
know,
through it.
well, you could, but I don't think the state's gonna do that. So as I indicated last month, regardless of whether it's 6 inches or 2 feet or whatever, I think that, we have to go forward and I'm certainly speaking for myself, I'm in favor of granting the variances.
I don't have a problem with it either. Do we need to discuss in depth, Kelly?
Well, the
You have
first
to
thing
answer the
that you
5
could-
questions.
Yep, but first I would say you can close the public hearing, and then you can make a motion that it is a type 2 action. I
Okay.
did follow up with the building department today. They still have not received a report back. from
I did
Montgomery.
also.
I was like, maybe at the last minute, but 30 days have passed, so it won't
Yeah.
hold up anything that you do.
So I'll make that, well, should we,
Should we ask
Ask-
if anyone from the
yes.
public is, I don't know if anyone from the public is watching or whatever.
Doesn't
There's
look
nobody
like it.
from the public on.
Nobody
Okay.
from the public.
so we'll ask a phantom gallery, right? I'll make the motion to close the public hearing.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Okay.
And I'll make the
Um,
motion to declare it a type 2 for
All right.
secret.
Yeah, type 2. And like Kelly said, we did not get the 239 back, so we can move forward on that.
The motion needs a second. For type
Second.
2.
We did,
Thank you.
didn't we do this?
No, Craig made a separate motion to declare this a type 2 action. So now I have Kevin.
Oh,
seconding it.
okay, gotcha. I'm sorry, I was just going ahead. You seconded it, Kevin?
Yeah,
Okay, all in favor?
aye.
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 Thank you.
All right, sorry about that. All right. Let's just, we have no building inspectors report, no deliberations. Oh, we do have deliberations on closed public hearings because we just closed one.
Yes.
So now
do
we will
now.
discuss your application, Mr. Levy.
Thank you.
All right. So when you filled out the application, Mr. Levy, you answered 5 questions regarding the variance. And these are the 5 questions that we use to determine whether or not to grant the variances or the setbacks. And that's what we're going to discuss. So you will know tonight what we plan to do. However, the formal vote won't take place until next month when we have the actual decision.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So the first question is, will the granting of this variance produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or create a detriment to nearby properties? And the applicant says, the house has been built in 1870 and has become part of the neighborhood. I think that the house has positive impact on the neighborhood and nearby properties. There will be no change. It has to be a positive change because now it's a building that's, it's in ruins, at least the left side of it is really destroyed.
You want to
So,
see
yeah,
it from the
this-
throughway.
I'm sorry, what?
You want to see it from the throughway side.
Oh, really?
I drive past it all the time and it's brutal.
Oh, that's terrible. No, I didn't go in the back. I just went in the front of the property. So I agree that the house, this will not have a undesirable change. It will have more of a desirable change.
I agree.
Agreed.
Okay. Number 2, can the benefit you seek be achieved by some other feasible method other than variance? The applicant says, I'm not aware of any other way. Well, short of moving the building,
I have to agree with him. There's
I
no
would
way.
definitely have to agree with him on that also.
Agreed.
Okay. Number 3, how substantial is the variance that you are requesting? He said, like I said, the way I see it, the house has a positive impact on the neighborhood and nearby properties. The house has been there for the past 150 years. My request is to restore the house to its previous condition. What they were asking, Mr. Levy, is how substantial are the setback variances? In other words, if there's needs a setback of 50 feet and you have 14 feet, that's quite a large variance. Same for the side yards. I would say that numerically, yeah, it sounds, substantial. However, if you look at the property and you look at the location, it's not changing anything, and there's not going to be building. I mean, I doubt they're going to build between the throughway and his house, put anything
Yeah.
there. So it is a substantial numerically, but I don't think it's substantial aesthetically or impact wise on the neighborhood. What
I
are your
agree.
thoughts? Craig, what do you think?
Yeah, it numerically substantial, but there's no choice. So
Right, yeah, short of
I mean,
moving the house, that's right.
we can all agree that it is substantial, but that's not a determinant factor for our decision.
Right, correct. Number 4, will the granting of the variance have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district? The applicant says, not that I know of. I
Agreed.
would
There's
agree.
no impact.
Agreed.
It's all positive impact at this point.
Yes.
And number 5, is the alleged difficulty self-created? The applicant says no. This is as a result of an unfortunate tragic event of fire. Restoring this house may bring some peace to the original owner. May his soul rest in peace. No, the applicant didn't build the house. It was there. The fire, destroyed the house. So this is one of those rare instances I would agree that, it is not a self-created difficulty.
I agree.
I agree with that as well.
Okay. So do I have a motion? Oh, okay, Craig, you're really good.
Go ahead, Craig. You're the man for
Well,
this.
yeah. So Kelly, do you need to know about conditions before we ask you to draw up, or would you? I mean, that should be part of any decision, right?
Yeah,
The conditions would be part of any decision. I've written down a few,
the water and
just that
sewer.
you thought, yeah, like the water and the sewer. And I'd have to look back at the other sheet that I have that's not open on my desktop right now. But basically, it's gonna have to go to the building department and it's gonna have to get all the necessary approvals from there.
So
things
I'm
like
I'm
that.
I'm
If you have any
thinking.
additional, I'll,
All right, so my question is directed at precedent. Okay, in the context that we have here, is there anything specific, or do we have what I'll call a no precedent scenario by virtue of the fact that we're saying it was due to the throughway basically carving through this lot at some point in time, that it's not going to set a precedent for future 2 or 3 foot,
yeah, I think
90% variances is what I'm getting at.
I mean, any decision you have has precedential effect unless it is, uniquely set apart. And I think this property actually is probably one of the more unique properties in the village that I've come across in the applications, because any impact that it has, as the board has noted, it backs up right against the throughways. So from the front of the property, it really has no impact on the neighbors. From the rear, it would, but it backs up on the throughway. And I don't know how many properties the village actually, I mean, you have a number of properties that back up against the throughway, but how many of those have the unique situation where there's a fire and there's masonry walls? If this was a different
Right.
structure that's built nowadays and it burned, they wouldn't have those same restrictions and could try and shift to come into compliance. They
Exactly.
can easily tear up a foundation and dig, but a masonry wall is a different story. So I'll try and make it as uniquely tailored to this particular application in this instance. And if you think more is necessary or additional conditions should be included, we can do that at your next meeting.
I doubt it. I just wanted to ask that publicly so that, it would be as part of the record of the meeting. So based on that, I will make a motion requesting council to draw up a decision consistent with the discussion that we have had here this evening. And that's the motion.
I'll second that. Do I need to poll each member, Kelly?
Just an all in favor.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Levy, you have a favorable decision.
Thank you.
Kelly will draw up a draft decision and next month we will vote on that decision. And that's when it will
Thank you.
become, official.
Thank you very much. Can I ask,
Sure,
can I say something?
sure.
Because it's winter and it's raining and it's snowing. If there is any way to expedite, because the more time the house sits and gets rain and water, if I could, do something to work on that sooner. I don't know if there is an option for that. I'm just asking.
You could contact the building department and see what they would allow, knowing that right now there's been these discussions. The other option I would have to talk about with the board is whether or not you would want to call a special meeting to discuss the decision and approve it, but then you would have to, once you get the decision, you would still have to apply to the building department for a building permit to do whatever work is needed. But I'm not sure if they would or would not allow, temporary tarping of it or whatever's needed. I'm not sure.
Would he have to get
Okay,
approval
so-
with tarping?
I'm not sure what your building department would say. I mean, I couldn't tell you under the building code, if he was putting up a tent, he would need a permit, but you wouldn't put a tent over a house. Normally you would just put some tarping. So I don't know why they haven't allowed that thus far. So maybe they're looking at a different code provision.
Hey, as long
I
as that
haven't
tarp don't
asked.
blow on a throughway, you're all right.
Say that again, Kevin?
As long as that tarp doesn't blow onto the
Oh,
throughway.
Well, would it be reasonable to contact the building department, Karen or Kelly or both, to recommend that they discuss this with Mr. Levy so that he'd be able to do something to protect?
What's there?
Yeah, I can reach out to the building inspector tomorrow and see, first of all, why this hasn't been allowed to be done.
Has it not
They
been
may-
allowed or is it just not?
No, I haven't.
requested.
I haven't asked.
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't
Yeah,
asked.
that's why, that's what I was
Okay.
asking.
Then that makes a lot more sense. So I can reach out to the building department and let them know that you'll be asking for that and see what they say and see if there's any issue with that.
Yeah, given
so
that there's
much.
going to be a favorable decision, it would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I've seen properties on my own block, the roof is leaking and they put a blue tarp over it. And nobody says, nobody's come along and told them to take it down.
Mhm.
So I imagine it's allowed, as long as it's a temporary
Right.
fix, so to speak. Any other
All right.
questions, Mr. Levy?
Oh, Karen,
Yes, Kevin.
as long as Mr. Levi's set.
Yeah, do you have any more question, Mr. Levy?
No, that's the only question I had. Thank you.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
Did I read correctly that today's your birthday?
Oh, Kevin.
You did. Happy birthday, Karen.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Karen.
birthday. You were just gonna let this meeting happen and not tell anybody?
No,
Yes,
no,
he was.
if Kevin hadn't done it, I would have.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But
And
before
I
we
will
close-
Here you
save
are
you
having to, here you're having
punishment.
to work on your birthday.
Yeah, someone said, so what are you doing on your birthday? I said, oh, have a zoning board meeting. Such
But I'd like to
fun.
wish all board members and everybody a great Christmas and holidays, and we will see you next year.
Yeah, well, we still have to adjourn, Kevin.
I know, but I'm just,
Okay,
He
I
wants
didn't
to
want
make
you
sure
to
it's on
log
the
off
record.
before we voted. What was that?
He wants to make sure it's on the record.
there you go.
He wants it to be in the minutes. That's what he
Oh,
wants.
that's what it is.
Hey,
Yes,
listen,
it's
I
like-
got a new computer with a pop-up camera, so I'm
Oh,
all
Fancy.
set.
Don't break it.
I'm trying not to. But I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, meeting is adjourned.
Everyone have a great, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and enjoy your holidays.
You
You
too.
too.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.
And Jess, there's still time to go out with your sister.
It's a Wednesday, Jess.
But it's her
But it's my sister's birthday
too.
too.